another show of guts,
glory, and gore for you today.
Maybe too much of it! Watch this crazy game. I'm so ready for the blood to run. All the killing
Your face on TV.
Come on, murder!
Go! Hunting time! Hunter G! Oh, yeah!
Got it, Senpai.
Excellent!
That was your first look at Deathverse, Let It Die, coming to PS4 and PS5 next year. Now, let's listen to We Are OFK.
War. War sucks. In a world full of war, where war is, just doesn't have anything to do with politics or race or imperialism. Out there, we look to each other and to our thick arms.
You done?
And you're like, how did they get them that thick? Is this like an alternate reality where arms are just that thick, or are they robot arms? Our last hope is arms.
Luca, focus.
Okay, sorry, for real. PlayStation promo time.
Yep.
I'm just supposed to introduce our band and the game about our band, right? Ooh, can we do something fun with it? Like, can we be like, why is it called State of Play? What are we, the president?
We've talked about these jokes. Hey, you.
Hi, we're still driving. Jay, I heard back from the mix engineer, and she's cool with getting song stems on Sunday.
Itsu! How's the PlayStation blog post going?
Are hashtags too much? I want to reach more people, but I don't think I trust people who use hashtags.
Itsu, you're the best at this.
I'm proud of you.
I just do things.
Carter, what you working on?
Just a little audio filter I cooked up for Debug here.
Can Debug make me sound like a demon?
Okay. Give me one more run through and we'll take a proper break, yeah?
Okay, hi! We Are OFK is a new music biopic game about us, the indie pop group OFK. It's a 5-episode series about how we started the band here in Los Angeles and how, so far, we have not screwed it up. You get dialogue choices and texting and flirting, and each episode lets you play an interactive music video of a new song from our debut EP. That's 5 episodes, 5 songs. And if you join our mailing list today, you get a life-size cutout of our whole band wearing nothing but PlayStation 5 DualSense controllers.
Oh, God.
No.
Nope.
Okay, the cutout is still TBD, but We Are OFK is coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 in 2022. The future.
The future, thick arms. We Are OFK.
Okay, bye.
We love you.
Up next, the team at Young Horses shares a big update coming to Bug Snacks.
Did you
all see that? Giant bug snacks!
Gosh, we might be witnessing a prehistoric species somehow preserved at the bottom of the ocean.
We need to form an expedition! Bro? Has anybody seen my hat?
Snacks with hats? That's adorable!
And that's not all, buddy. Ta-da! We finally finished your huts! So keep checking your mail, do some redecorating, and before you know it, this'll feel like home.
Can we stop wasting time and get on with this expedition before I'm as old as Shelda? Ready yourselves! A grave danger approaches!
Hey, Five Nights at Freddy's fans, we've got a security breach.
Trapped!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for visiting, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Freddy and the gang are pretty tired, but they'll be back again next week after a few days of scheduled maintenance. Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex is now closed, initiating nighttime protocols.
No! Wait, I'm still here!
Lights on! I warned you! I warned you!
You should be able to escape when the security doors reopen at 6 a.m. Until then, keep moving and try not to draw attention to yourself. If there is another way out, I will help you find it. I promise.
Please make your way to the front of the building, where you will be given novelty glasses, a voucher for 1 free soda refill, and where you will sign a legal disclaimer releasing us of all liability for anything that might have happened during your visit. Have an awesome night, and we'll see you again soon. Would you like to take a short survey about your experience?
Battle beasts and demigods in a challenging action RPG coming soon to PlayStation. Let's take a look. Online opponents await in these multiplayer games coming to PS4 and PS5.
One way or another, I'm gonna win ya. I'm
shatter all expectations.
魂のるつぼの中で私はあなたたちの戦いを眺めてきた。これもまた運命の導き。
Dolores.
Once the hour is too late, pride it never gets
King of Fighters 15!
Escape is futile. Looks like you're in need of your medicine.
Hi everyone, I'm Niels, also known as Vetterbird.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily, also known as Norstef. Today we're excited to share First Class Trouble with you. First Class Trouble is an online social deduction game featuring a dangerous cocktail of difficult decisions and wacky possibilities.
Before you hop into a match, check out the range of customization options available to you. As you play, you'll unlock even more, so don't forget to come back to your wardrobe from time to time. Let's check out that recent match we played.
That was a good one. When the round begins, you'll be assigned a secret role of either a resident or a personoid.
So this is me, I played as a resident in this game, and my goal was to reach Kane at the heart of the ISS Elysia.
And I got to play as a personoid. So my game was all about deception and traps, stopping the residents at all costs.
Great outfit that you have on there.
Thank you. The most important question is, who can you trust?
Yeah, exactly, and I thought you and I were working together.
I know, right?
Sometimes going with your gut doesn't work out.
Sorry, Dave. I don't have that problem.
You sabotaged the oxygen, well done.
When a system is sabotaged or a trap is sprung, this is a good time to start casting doubt on the loyalty of the other residents.
Yeah, you had me so convinced. You did such a great job, I even helped you take him out. You really got me on this game. I never suspected you at any point.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, here it is.
Gotcha!
I realized too late.
Whether you're a personoid or a resident, your social deduction skills and strategy are the key to survival.
Good luck, everyone. And remember, be careful who you trust, because in First Class Trouble, cocktails last longer than friendships.
Work together to avoid disaster when First Class Trouble arrives to PS4 and PS5 next month. PlayStation Plus members will be able to download the PS4 and PS5 versions at no extra cost starting November 2nd.
Scanning craft. Pan-Galactic Federation battleship, the Astoria.
Weapons activity detected. Readying third
Starboard
strike.
thrusters to full power.
There's no time.
No way!
Abandon ship. All crew members, get to an escape.
Are you quite alright?
If it's help you're offering, then it's help I'm taking.
Damn near the full Federation fleet's moving in on us.
Wish I could say we're good. But the Fed saw to it we aren't.
The crew of the Aegis needs you. Good luck, Ray.
You seek only to devour this world.
I am certain your journey into the stars above will bring hope to the future of this world, Your Highness.
Spare me your self-righteousness. I shall be saved by mine own hands.
If humanity should persist as it has, never will it find total freedom from sorrow.
What hope do we hold should they descend upon us now?
If you dare turn your back to this, I swear I'll destroy the Federation ship by ship until there's not a damn thing left!
Before we wrap up, let's get an update on the eagerly awaited Little Devil Inside.
Kärrikas, sinä listari. Missä niistä meni?
Like any other day, Billy sets out on another job. Looks like he's reading the letter he received. The job seems simple enough. Billy arrives at Cornfield Station. He needs to meet Professor Vincent, who should be nearby. Oh, there's an old lady up ahead. During travel, you can engage with various people. Sometimes to buy goods, or simply ask for directions. On certain occasions, the crew is available to travel together. During world map travel, you can encounter various events, some bigger than others. In this case, a flock of sheep blocking the road. Looks like they have arrived near their destination. Billy heads towards an eerie-looking mansion to fulfill his simple task, of course. He's greeted by who seems like the owner. The job is to pick up a mysterious artifact and deliver it to Professor Vincent. Looks like it's kept in the mansion's basement, leaving behind the unsettling signs on the wall. Billy enters the basement chamber. Well, it turns out that the job is not going to be so simple after all. Ever since leaving the mansion, strange-looking creatures constantly appear. Here he is surrounded by a mob, striking and sticking the blade into enemies to pull and throw them around. During his travels, Billy needs to resort to his survival instincts and make use of whatever he has to survive. Often being exposed to the harsh side of Mother Nature. A desert environment is one such place. Finding safe places to camp and cooking up food is all part of the journey. This time,
a sub-zero climate. And worse, caught in a snow blizzard. Struggling to pull his companion out of the snow. What will be their fate? Lead Billy throughout his journey, and imagine what he has to face. Some expected, more often not. Oh my. Welcome to the world of Little Devil Inside.
That's our show. We hope you enjoyed this peek into what's to come on PlayStation. See you next time. That's our show. We hope you enjoyed this peek into what's to come on PlayStation. See you next time.
This episode of Beyond is brought to you by Crysis Remastered Trilogy.
Beyond and hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Dornbush. This is Loki. Hopefully his cuteness is helping you get through what we just watched, which was a state of play from PlayStation, and we have some games to talk about from it, and some other news from PlayStation this week. We're going to talk about our reactions to that state of play, and much more. My dog is not happy with me holding him like this, so I'm going to put him down. You might see him later in the show. But in addition to Loki joining me this week, I'm joined by a wonderful panel I'm very excited to introduce to you all. I'm joined this week by Mark Medina.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jada Griffin. And Lucy O'Brien.
The highlight of the state of play was absolutely your dog.
Thank you so much. I mean, he's the highlight of most of my days, so I get
absolutely.
it.
I wasn't sure if I could feel joy again. It turns
well,
I can.
Loki is here to make that happen. And yes, we are, of course, for those who are tuning in live, thank you so much for joining us for a live reaction to the state of play that we just watched, which was, of course, primarily focused or entirely focused on third-party games. Some new game announcements in there, some release date announcements, some very cool indies from earlier this year getting PlayStation releases as well. And so we'll dive into a little bit of the specifics there, but I do think, of course, it is worth addressing our overall feelings on the show. And Mark, I'm gonna throw to you first, actually, to let me know what you think.
Sometimes, let's just say the last PlayStation showcase, obviously the big one, the one that should have been during around E3, that one made me overwhelmed, and this one left me very whelmed. I'm incredibly whelmed right now. I can tell you that.
Yeah, if it's possible to get that meme GIF from, I believe, Clueless in state of play form, it kind of was this. Lucy, I'll throw to you next. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with these state of plays is like it's such a grab bag. You never quite know how big it's going to be because PlayStation's messaging is always so vague. I think we should have kind of taken a hint when they dropped that, it was going to be really focused on Little Devil Inside. I think that they were saying there, this is the big one, guys. Like, this is our big closer. Because, if your expectations were even medium high, I think you would have been a little disappointed in that state of play. And again, it's a messaging thing. I think that the games we saw were perfectly fine. Some of them looked pretty cool. I actually really liked the deeper dive into Little Devil Inside. I think that one is going to be great. But yeah, it's a messaging thing. It's confusing, and that's why we always end up sort of feeling a bit like, unless it's, as Mark said, that big explosive kind of state of play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's particularly hard to come off of the last one where we got reveals like Wolverine, KOTOR, and all of that. And obviously they did, I think as you both sort of mentioned, did message this was third-party focused. But even still, I think there was this hope of like, well, we know Forspoken is coming. Final Fantasy 16 is coming.
Final Fantasy 16. Mm-hmm. I mean, I heard Mark swear under his breath when the Square Enix logo popped up, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be.
Yeah, I'm happy that Jada is excited. We'll go into that later. But yeah, when Square Enix popped up, I was like, here we go. Time to save the day. And then instantly it was like, a girl on a spaceship. And I was like, wait, hold on, guys.
I thought for sure.
I'm surprised we didn't see Stray. Like Stray is like very around the corner. And that's one of those like indies that people are extremely excited for. But we didn't even get that.
Well, not even just Stray, but, that's being published by Annapurna, but so is Solar Ash. And Solar Ash was supposed to come out this week until it got delayed till December 2nd. And this is, theoretically, I don't think it's a crazy bet to say this is probably the last state of play before then. And it's kind of surprising that wasn't there either. It was an interesting one. Jada, I do want to throw to you. Our producer did mention that you might be muted, so just double check that you were unmuted at this point. But feel free to jump in with your thoughts overall about the state of play before we get into specifics.
Appreciate the people behind the scenes, because I definitely was. I'm really, actually, you know what? I'm cautiously optimistic after this state of play. There wasn't anything that was like a certified banger, but Star Ocean's going to be really cool for the RPG fans to kind of tide us over until Final Fantasy 16 gets there. There's been, so much fanfare looking for Five Nights at Freddy Security Breach, which we finally got a look at today. Little Devil Inside, like everybody's been saying, that one's been dormant for like almost a year for the most part. So it's exciting to see more on that. But yeah, and then King of Fighters, there's another fighting game coming out. It's kind of besides Guilty Gear, it's the next fighting game for the next gen type consoles. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I wouldn't say there's anything that was like, oh my God, I got to go out and buy right away, but maybe Star Ocean. We'll see as we get closer to whenever that ends up dropping.
Yeah, and I definitely do want to get to a couple of those specifics. So to start it all off, I think of the big games that we saw there, I'll just mention, of course, we can get to Little Devil Inside, which closed the show, but I will mention, at least personally for me, I was a huge Bugsnax fan, so to get Bugsnax, The Isle of Big Snacks, which I think is a wonderful title, that is a new free expansion, which I think is really awesome, coming to players in 2022, so if you already own Bugsnax, it'll come with a new biome to explore, a dozen fresh Bugsnax to capture and feed to your friends, over 100 challenges and 30 quests, and nearly 200 decorations to collect and display. Because, of course, they also showed in the trailer that you will be able to get your own sort of shack in the Bugsnax village and be able to build that up and decorate it yourself. If anyone else is a huge Bugsnax on the panel, if you're a huge fan, I shouldn't say if you're a huge Bugsnax, but if you are, please let me know. You have to tell me.
I wish. I like that they have hats now.
Hats are great. Yeah. Hats
I would love for Bugsnax to become like the PlayStation Animal Crossing, which kind of feels like it could go in that direction. Like, I know it kind of has like Pokemon vibes, but like, if it becomes this thing where it's like it's this world you get to just live in and like decorate, and you have a house and you can dress up your Bugsnax and stuff like that, which kind of looks like it's the direction it's going, I'm actually kind of down for that.
I loved Bugsnax. I put a lot of time into it when it first dropped, and I'm excited to revisit and kind of do some more stuff with it. Like, I really like the Animal Crossing vibes of, kind of customizing your town and stuff like that. I feel like the base game was very, hey, here's the story we want to tell, and now we've got DLC because we have so many fans and we want to like thank them. So here is a huge like new biome, new Bugsnax, and new things to do to keep you playing Bugsnax until whenever we get Bugsnax 2.
Yeah, it's a really smart addition, I think, especially for Young Horses, which is a pretty small studio. They recently also mentioned, they were moving to a 4-day work week, which is awesome to see, to, prioritize the health of their development team. And it's awesome that they've been able to put this together since Bugsnax, at least its theme song took the world by storm before the PS5 launch, and then a lot of us ended up really loving it at launch and after. This edition will, for those who have beaten the game like myself, you'll be able to basically just load your end game save, and it will put you right back before the sort of like end game point of no return in the story. So you'll be able to still enjoy everything in the Bugsnax edition, which I think is really cool. Moving on from there, there's a couple games I do specifically want to hit, but I kind of think I'll just throw to all three of you to start with. Mark, what was your highlight of the show, or I guess one of the announcements you were most excited by?
The highlight of the show is, and this is something I doubt we'll have B-roll for, but if you look, I was in Deathverse.
Oh, no.
I'm the big guy. I'm in that game, so I'm glad.
Congratulations!
I finally
Well
get to reveal
done,
that. Yeah, it's something I've been keeping secret. Nobody knows. I didn't even know, but I'm happy that they put me in the game. No, I would say my favorite thing from the showcase was that Death's Door is coming to PlayStation. Death's Door was like such a big like surprise hit this year, and it's only been on Xbox and PC, which are great ways to play it. But now PlayStation and Nintendo people get to play it because it's coming out in November for both consoles. So I hit my thing, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. But yes. I'm very excited to play this game because I didn't play it a whole lot because I was like, I feel like this is eventually going to be like a really fun game to play on Switch or PlayStation. And I got both of my wishes in one state of play. So, I've changed my mind. This is the best state of play ever because Death's Door is awesome.
What a turnaround from just a few minutes ago for you.
I convinced myself.
Perfect. No, yeah, I played maybe the first like hour or two of Death's Door, and I had that same just like, I might want to get the platinum trophy for this if it ever comes to PlayStation, so I'll hold off. And luckily, that day has come. As you mentioned, it's coming to both platforms on November 23rd. There's a PlayStation blog post up where they talk about, a platinum trophy, 60 frames per second it'll be running at, and that they'll be using the haptics of the DualSense, as well as, some of the audio expectations we have from PS5. So that should be really cool to see. Jada or Lucy, I don't know if either of you have any major Death's Door impressions to give or excitement, but...
I'm ready to. I'm excited to give it a shot. I never got around to picking it up just because I was playing so much other stuff when it dropped on Xbox and PC. So maybe November will be the time for me. There's not a whole lot else dropping in the Q4 for PlayStation and such. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, like all of my very close friends who I trust, their gaming opinion on such matters, like say that this is fantastic. It was basically their game of the year until, whatever Metroid Dread came along or whatever and knocked it off that top spot. But I'm really excited to play this. It's going to be a day one for me for sure.
Yeah, really, really excited to see it come. And as many have said online, including, I think, friends of the show, Paris Lily and Barrett Courtney, you should definitely play Death's Door when it shows up, if the four of us wasn't convincing enough. Jada, I will throw to you next. What were you most excited by in the State of Play?
I'm a big RPG person, so I guess I'd have to go with Star Ocean for, with the lack of any other big ones. But I definitely really enjoyed what I got to see for Star Ocean. We were chatting during the show, and I was like, this is Star Ocean. Before anything came up, I was like, this is Star Ocean. I already know it. I recognize the kind of the style, the very sci-fi look, the costumes for the characters. They have a very distinct style when it comes to Star Ocean. It's very hard to not recognize it for somebody like me who's played pretty much every rendition of it, minus the mobile games. The last one was Integrity and Faithlessness, which was, about as good as the name was short. But it wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. I played it. I got some good game time out of it, streamed a little bit of it. So hopefully they, capitalize off of some of the newer trends in RPGs and just kind of put their own Star Ocean spin on it. It looks like it's a much better open and explorable open world, which looks cool. But yeah, I just, I got to see more before I can be properly excited for this one. But this would be the number one for the show.
Yeah, this is a long-running JRPG series that I have shamefully not jumped into. It was kind of at a point on the PS2 where I saw that Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts on a shelf, and obviously I chose the Kingdom Hearts path and have been led down that way for the last 20 years. But maybe I'll give this one a try as well. Lucy, what about for you? What were you most excited by or enjoyed from the State of Play?
I mean, it was slim pickings, let's be honest, for me. None of these really jazz me a hell of a lot. I'm excited that people are stoked for Security Breach. I think that's going to be, it's obviously really highly anticipated. I love Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm not a dedicated fan, but I've played enough that this is an exciting one for me. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, I absolutely love the look of Little Devil Inside. I think that it looks like a really interesting world to spend time in. It's obviously got that kind of British whimsy, which I'm a sucker for to a point. They seem to be treading the tightrope really, really well in this game. And it does look gorgeous. It's got its own sort of sense of self, and in terms of its aesthetics, and like it's kind of one of those games at this point where I'm like, I think I've seen enough. It's given me enough of an idea that this is like a really beautiful kind of lived-in world that we're going to be dropped into. I don't need to see any more. So in terms of highlights, those would be my two. But you know, it wasn't the Lucy show. This state of play, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's I think fair to say. I did really enjoy this look at it. It's we were talking a little bit before the show. Little Devil Inside was at that I think the first PlayStation 5 showcase last year in June 2020, and then basically the developers went silent for over a year, and it's probably one of the games whenever there's a new PlayStation showcase, I've had a lot of people ask, where is it? And we saw this, and I'm totally with you. I think it looks really gorgeous. I love the tone of it. I think it's delightful and whimsical in that wonderfully British way, as you said. But it's a little bit of a bummer we didn't get any sort of release date or window or timing at all. I've looked at the PlayStation blog post. The game's official page on PlayStation just says the game is announced. So we are probably not close to, unfortunately, getting Little Devil Inside anytime soon. But it was nice to see like an actual slice of what the game looks like and plays like versus the very more cinematic focus trailer that we got that first time around.
I think the combat kind of looks cool. It looks a little heavy, but like I think that's kind of like the thing is you look at him and he's got this big coat and he looks kind of bulky, and I don't know. It doesn't scream a Mark Medina game, but I've been wrong before. I will definitely I'll definitely give it a shot. They look like Legos, so that's always like it's kind of throwing me off. It's like these really gorgeous backgrounds and then Lego characters, but they're cute in their own right. So I'll definitely give it a go.
It's a very cute look, and there seems to be this bit of 2D story-based sort of narrative focus, but also survival elements in there. It'll be really curious to see that one in action. But those were our highlights, as we all said, of the PlayStation State of Play. Unfortunately, a little bit of a quieter one, but we'll have some more brief reactions and community thoughts right after this. But we're going to take a quick break and be right back soon with more PlayStation news, because there actually was a lot else that happened this week. So we'll talk about all that in just a bit.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game, but what if you got a chance to peek into the mind of the developers behind those games as they watch their hard work get completely destroyed right in front of them?
What is happening right now?
That's exactly what happens on every episode of Devs React to Speedruns. We invite you to ride along with the developers as they watch, react, and enjoy some of the craziest gameplay by the most skilled speedrunners on the planet. Tune in every Saturday for a brand new episode.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and...
Me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch the Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to our live podcast Beyond following the most recent State of Play. And though we pretty much got, I think, all of our thoughts out about the State of Play in the first part of the show, I do want to get some reactions. There was a lot of chatter about the show as it was going on around the blogosphere, as the kids say these days. And so, Jada, as our community lead here at IGN, I want to throw to you, what were some of the most talked about aspects of the State of Play?
For sure. Blogosphere is the scientific term, so thank you for using it. So we'll start. I'm just going to go straight from the top to a couple of them that I've pulled. So Nessie at Swan Kisses. Bug Snacks DLC, this is the best thing to ever happen.
The best thing to ever
The best
happen.
thing
Right,
to ever
wow,
happen.
okay.
Nothing.
Ever. I can't believe it.
I mean, PlayStation can be stoked that they reached that one person.
I saw a few other chats. Apparently the Bug Snacks Discord is going crazy. So
Sure.
there's everybody in the Bug Snacks Discord. Shout out to you. Let's see. Barrett Courtney at Sad Boy Barrett. Somebody you guys don't know at all.
No.
This State of Play hit the exact level I was expecting. It could have been an email. Got to take the good with the bad, as we say.
Could have been a blog post.
Very strong
blog post.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Ambi at Ambigiddy. Hopefully I'm saying that right. OMG, this is all in caps. OMG, that FNAF trailer, Five Nights at Freddy's, was amazing. Everything was so good, and Vanessa's model looks so flarking good. They are feeding us so well. Very huge excitement. This is something I see whenever I'm in the comments for any of our live streams. Our fans are just chomping at the bit for some good old Five Nights at Freddy's news. They've been, it's been a long time since we got the last release, but looks like they're going to be eaten well soon, so to speak.
Yeah, that's one that's popped up at a few State of Plays, and it's always very exciting, it seems, for the audience, and then it kind of goes dark for a long time, and everyone's like, what happened to it? So now we have a release date for December, and yeah, hopefully people will enjoy it when it's out.
And let's see.
Any other major wrap-ups?
Let's see. Major wrap-ups, let's see. Here we go. Kevin Kenson at Kevin Kenson. Little Devil Inside looks neat. Overall, this show was one of the weaker ones for me, but interested to see how the new Star Ocean pans out. # State of Play.
Yeah, that's one that I am very curious to see. It feels like one of the larger sort of like franchise announcements, but as we were sort of saying at the top of the show, with so many other like third-party questions hanging, it's very curious that we didn't see any of those other major marquee series from Capcom or Square or any of those show up in this. So I'm glad some of these announcements were exciting for those watching. But
I don't want to read any tweets verbatim, but my entire Twitter timeline is all about Bug Snacks. So it tells me that I'm following the right people.
Yes, 100%.
Very much so. That seems absolutely correct to me. But
it's me and all 200 of my alts.
That's all 200 new Bug Snacks. But yeah, it's definitely not, I think, a good indicator of what the next couple weeks or even months of PlayStation will be like, but that should hopefully give you some idea of the games to come early. It seems 2022 was really the big focus here. But for those who are hoping from a little bit more from this State of Play, including, it's worth mentioning, and I will be keeping an eye on the PlayStation blog as we go on, we still don't know the PlayStation Plus games for November at this moment. One of the games revealed in the show, First Class Trouble, is going to be a PlayStation Plus game, but other than that, we're still waiting for the full lineup. If that comes, we'll rush into the middle of this discussion and let you all know what that was. But luckily, there was some other big PlayStation news that I did want to cover on this week's show because we now have the chance to. And I think the first thing I'll start with was a thing people have been waiting a long time for ever since Returnal came out a little earlier this year, and it's that you can finally pause your Returnal runs. Earlier this week,
Thank God.
Right? Yeah. We'll get into why this is so exciting in just a sec, but to recap it for those who missed it, Returnal 2.0 is a new free update for the game, and it added both a photo mode finally, which is great because this is a very pretty game, especially when you got all the particle effects going like crazy, and then also a suspend cycle option, which is, the cycles are their name in universe for the runs that you go through as Celine in this, sort of roguelike game. And you can now actually pause and save your progress within a cycle. It's a one-time save thing, so as soon as you come back from that save, it erases that save state. You're not able to re-pick it up again. But this was a huge thing. And I think one of the primary things, for even people who really, really love this game, myself included, one of the biggest problems was that Returnal runs themselves could go north of 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so unless you block out an evening to play more than a run of Returnal, you either had to leave your PlayStation 5 on and hope there wasn't an automatic update that lost you your progress, or just pick those runs back up after, or have to restart. So it's been a thing a lot of people are asking for, and Housemarque figured out, I think, a solution that works without breaking the pace of this game. Mark, I'll turn to you first just because you were on our Returnal review impressions episode.
Mm-hmm.
How excited were you about this news?
Yeah, incredibly. Yeah, the thing, Returnal was this weird, it was this moment that everybody seemed to have at the same time, right? We all got Returnal. We all started playing it. And then, I got, halfway through a run, which, like you said, can be hours, right? And so I'd play for an hour, and I turned my PlayStation off, and there was a big update coming out around that time. I don't remember exactly what it was, back in April. I was like, oh, my PlayStation updated. And then I booted up Returnal, and because I'd left it paused overnight, I put it into sleep mode, and I was like, no, it took me to the title screen, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I logged into Slack for the day, and somebody else on my team was like, yo, the update turned Returnal off, and I lost my run. And I'm like, oh, this is a thing. This is it's going to keep happening to people. And so, then they started putting out all these warnings where it's like, hey, just so you know, halfway through a run, if something happens and you lose power or whatever, you're going to lose that progress. And the reason it's more devastating in Returnal than other roguelikes is Returnal is, you don't get a lot per run unless you make it to a certain point, right? So you can play for an hour and gain nothing. It's not like Hades where it's like, oh, I got some coins, I got some whatever, and those will carry over. There's a good chance you're going to play for an hour and get nothing if you lose your run. And then also just because of the incredible length that the runs are. Somebody put out an analogy that is imagine Dark Souls, but the bonfires are way farther apart. And so you'd have to pause halfway through and then losing that progress and having to get teleported back to your previous bonfire. It's devastating. So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, it's a welcome change of pace. And I was loving my time with Returnal, but I hit a certain point where I lost a couple runs, a week in a row, and was just like, okay, I need a break. I can't keep dealing with the heartache, which was a bummer because it's genuinely one of my favorite games of the year. I think it's phenomenal and such a great showing from Housemarque. Lucy, you were definitely hinting at some excitement. How did you feel about this news?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, Mark sort of summed it up. You sort of summed it up, but I do want to say, I do think that Returnal is one of those weird games because it suits itself to just sitting down for a couple of hours and playing a couple of hours, right? And then going off and doing something else. In terms of the way that it's built, it suits that kind of short burst kind of gameplay. And so it never made any sense to me that this wasn't implemented in the first place, because that is how most people are going to play this game. So for me, this is just an absolute winning addition to an already great game. That just makes it even better and is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's something that I think if you took a break from Returnal, this is the best time since it launched to come back to it, and I certainly will be doing that a lot this week. It's really exciting to see, especially because I wanted to go for the Platinum, but couldn't handle the losses too much. Jada, did you play much Returnal earlier when it came out?
Oh yeah, I've got probably 70 hours or so in Returnal. I cleared it on my third run, flex. Wow. It was a really rough third run, but I finished it just barely. And I will share the receipts. But anyways, I love Returnal. I'm still missing probably about 8 glyphs or so for the Platinum Trophy. That's all I'm missing for that one. But I'm super excited as soon as they announced this, that we're be able to pause in the mid-cycle now. The funny thing is I could have swore that there was a lot of dialogue when it came out. It's like, you can't do this to this game. It would ruin the game. It ruins the difficulty. And, that they're adding this official update, it proves it doesn't really do that. Like, it just gives you a chance to go have a slice of pizza or take a nap, or, you know, it just gives you some breathing room. And, you know, will it take away from some of the intensity? You know, time will tell. But either way, I think this only makes the game better.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, I've seen a little bit of discourse where it's like, oh, they're essentially adding an easy mode, right? Like, that's the whole Dark Souls argument. It's like, don't add an easy mode, just get good. It's like, it's not the case with Returnal. We're not talking about being sad about losing a run because we died. We're talking about literally not having time to get through a run and either having to just end the cycle or, you know, or go to bed.
Right.
And so we're talking about different things here. We're not talking about making the game easier. We're talking about being able to sleep at night.
Yeah, well, and it's also a thing of, like, people often, you know, especially in family situations, aren't the only ones using their consoles. So it's possible you might have a sibling or a child who wants to also play a game after you've paused a run, and, you know, 6 hours later you're like, sorry kid, I need to go kill all of these aliens before I can let you do that. Or people want to, you know, watch a movie on it and then someone accidentally closes the app and all these things. Like, it's just an ease of life situation. I don't think it will really impact the difficulty of Returnal.
Right. This is the game where everybody was like, hey, that Xbox quick resume's looking pretty good now, isn't it? I'm like, damn right, it's looking good.
I mean, they were absolutely correct. That's the truth.
Yep.
Yeah, that is, I think, the one feature that Returnal was kind of made for, and it's just a shame it didn't exist at that time. But yeah, it's really awesome, and hats off to Housemarque. You know, one of the more recent PlayStation acquisitions, a relatively small team who I think they had mentioned it at the time of the acquisition, after Returnal, which is their biggest game by far to date, took a much deserved vacation afterwards and rested for a little bit. Came back, and this was their first priority, it seems. So it's really cool that they were able to get this out within the same year, and it's a really great excuse to go back to Returnal or pick it up if you haven't already. Looking ahead, though, to another PlayStation exclusive, we got a lot of information about Horizon Forbidden West and Aloy's new abilities in Horizon Forbidden West, which, of course, currently scheduled for February 2022. We're just a few months away now, less than 4, I guess, 4 or 5. And so we got a little more information about Aloy's abilities to traverse around the environment, get around, how she'll be interacting with things, some of the new tools, some of the abilities and things that have changed or stayed the same, and how that's all evolved in Forbidden West. There was one bit, and forgive me, I'm blanking. Lucy, was it you who pointed it out in the blog post that went into all of this? Was it the vague allusion to being able to ride more machines this time around?
Yeah, correct. There was just a single sentence. Even more machine types can be used as mounts. There wasn't a huge amount of detail other than that. There was no detail other than that, but, like, of course, that is what we've kind of clamored for ever since the original Horizon Zero Dawn, is the ability to, and again, this is just me wishing and projecting. This isn't that, you know, Guerrilla hasn't said that this is happening, but hopping on a flying machine is what I want in this game. And honestly, they, in this blog post, and certainly from what we've seen of Forbidden West so far, they're spending a lot of time focusing on, like, vertical traversal, on sort of air traversal, and because there's forgive me because I've completely forgotten the name of it, but there's that glider that she has, which, of course, is you leap off and you glide down, and the whole idea is that you see so much of the landscape, and it's so beautiful, and it's Guerrilla, so it's extra beautiful, and so it just makes sense to me that they're going to allow you to hop on flying machines. It just that to me is such a no-brainer. If they don't do it, I'll be very surprised and very pissed off. But honestly, like, that's what I'm hoping for, and everything that they've detailed in this blog post in terms of traversal is really exciting, and it's exactly what we wanted from the original, which was, again, an open world game, but had some odd limitations, especially when it came to climbing, etc., which they seem to have really focused on this time around.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be a priority for things in the sequel. And obviously, for those who are watching the video version, we're looking at the gameplay from the State of Play that was earlier this year. That teased, I think, a little bit of these additions. And for those who missed it, we spoke to the devs after that. on IGN, and they helped elucidate a little bit about the idea that, you know, some of the footholds and using Aloy's focus to spot places to climb to is not indicative that there are only a couple spots in the world. It is just helping you see things in low light. Like, they really do want as much of the world to be climbable as possible. And so, Mark, I guess, you know, either from this blog post or in general from what we've seen on Horizon, what are you most excited about digging into when it comes to the exploration here?
It's so funny. I didn't expect to wake up that morning and get to see 23 seconds of gameplay and be so excited and like watch it over and over. I really can't believe like how good this game looks and how smooth it looks. Like, you always have to like take yourself out of it and be like, okay, how like dressed up is this set piece? Like, is the game going to play like this? It looks very like parkour-ish, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this game's going to nail it. I'm hoping everything we see is real, right? And that it's not, you know, devs have this way of making things look amazing and then you try to do them in practice. So, you know, it reminds me of the tree running in Assassin's Creed 3. Like, it never quite worked as well as like they made it look in trailers. And so I think they're going to nail it. I also agree. I really hope we get to fly in this game because I feel like it was a possible limitation of Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, when you fly, you go up into the air, you're supposed to be able to see the entire world, right? You're in the air, and it's like, but could a PS4 handle that? Now, this game is still on PS4, so it makes me think of this weird thing where it's like, flying mounts are only on PS5 because it's the only way they can work. I don't think they'll do something like that, but it gives me hope that they've figured out a way to make it where it's like, yes, you can fly, and we figured out a way to make it where you can see more of the world once you're up in the air. Because I feel like that's a big technical challenge versus just like, we don't want you guys to fly because we don't want you to. It's like, we don't want you to fly because we can't let you see that much of the world at once. It's too
exactly.
much.
Yeah. I just want to say, someone in chat just said I need to grow up because I said I'd be angry if they didn't include, traversal on flying mounts. The thing is, look.
You are.
I will not be angry. I will not say anything to the devs. I will just sit at home, shut the doors, and cry for like 2 days.
There are healthy ways.
No hate towards the devs.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. If the game is not exactly what you want, you have no permission whatsoever to complain to the devs. But unfortunately, probably the most healthy thing to do right now is, as Lucy said, and bottle up your emotions.
Yeah, we're allowed to want things.
Yeah, you're allowed to want things. It's
Exactly.
Demanding or getting angry at somebody because you didn't get exactly what you want. It's not your game. It is the developers. It is the creative directors. It's everybody who works on the game's game. It's not ours. We are just lucky enough to be able to enjoy all of their hard work and what they put into it. So, I'm happy and thankful for whatever I get. If I get to fly on some of the flying mechs, or if I get to ride, tie 2 snap moths together and ride them together, like that's all bonus for me. I'm hoping that works. That's what I'm waiting for.
You had mentioned the snap mob before the show, and now I'm just seeing it as kind of like a Wind Waker-esque sailing addition to the game, and I'm all for that. That sounds wonderful to me. But yeah, just to bring it back to like sort of the expansions of things and obviously our hopes for it, but concrete details, going back to that climbable thing, it won't be, I think, a Breath of the Wild situation where every single area will be climbable. But in the blog post, they mentioned that terrain will be climbable in a way that was not previously possible. We'll make sure large sections are climbable where it makes sense visually and narratively. And rocky surfaces in these areas will be freely climbable, though. So you won't need to worry about finding the right handhold for where you need to go. This is not going to be a case of like, oh, the Nora tribe very specifically laid out this path that you'll be able to parkour through. It'll be a little bit more freeing, a little bit more open. And that kind of seems like the thesis, or at least like the goal for this game at large. And so
there's this weird Breath of the Wild comparison. It's going to be more like Assassin's Creed. Like, there's not going to be a stamina bar. They put ledges on everything, and they're making it where you can climb stuff.
Yeah, that comparison unfortunately hangs around since the days of
right,
launch.
exactly.
I agree. Yeah, the Assassin's Creed sort of connection is a lot more apropos for, I think, sort of what to expect from the free climbing here. especially because we're going to be going through a city. It's just going to be dilapidated and not like the one that we travel through every day.
I'm pretty sure it's pretty. Have you seen San Francisco lately?
It's about the same. Yeah.
There's buildings sinking.
Yeah.
Give it one more like big rainfall like we had this past weekend, and it'll be close.
One more gust of wind, and San Francisco's done.
There was plenty more information from that blog post, so I definitely recommend you go read it in full or check out all of our coverage of it on IGN, as there was a lot to see, and I'm so excited that we're this close to that game. It's kind of wild that we're only, a few months away at this point from a new horizon. But in terms of what we are playing and what, actual games are out this week, we'll have plenty to talk about right after this break. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be talking way more about some games we've been playing and more right after this.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
What's up everyone, Sydney here to bring you a little update about the future of IGN on YouTube. We've been listening to your feedback and it seems like some of you are more into games while others are more interested in movies and TV. So we got to thinking about it and decided, why not both? Our main channel will still bring you all the biggest news, reviews, previews, and trailers to keep you up to speed on the most important highlights. But if you only want games content 24/7, head over to IGN Games. Movies and TV more your thing? Check out IGN Movies and TV. More channels, more of the stuff you love, more IGN.
Hello and welcome back to our live PlayStation Podcast Beyond, IGN's weekly PlayStation show where we're digging into all of the news of the PlayStation world, including the state of play. We talked about that at the top of the show. We talked about some of the other big PlayStation news of the week. I am still waiting to find out what the PlayStation Plus games are going to be for November. I have not seen that blog post. It will probably publish about 30 seconds after the show ends. But before we get to the end of the show, we do have some more to talk about. So I'm joined, as always, continuing to be joined by Mark, Jada, and Lucy. Thank you all for being with me for this live episode of Beyond. And we are going to dig in. Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you. We're going to dive in a little bit to what we've been playing. And I think it's, of course, worth saying at the top of all this, the big game out this week, I think it is. Yeah, it's this week, is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the latest Square Enix published Marvel game. It comes from Eidos Montreal, the Deus Ex devs, the recent Deus Ex sort of, I don't know if it was a duology or a trilogy, but there were a few games that brought that franchise back to life. And this is a single-player Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game. The way they've been presenting it, it was only revealed a few months back at E3 during Square Enix's press conference, though it's been long rumored to be in development. This is a single-player narrative campaign-focused game. There are no sort of microtransactions in it. There's no sort of multiplayer that, is there. It is a game where you play a Star-Lord and you call on the other Guardians in need for both puzzle solving and combat and whatnot. We've all been playing it to various degrees on the show. Of course, I'd recommend, if you haven't already, if you're not playing yet, go check out Tom Marks' review on IGN or on YouTube for the video version to get his full thoughts on it. But we've all been playing Guardians quite a bit. And Lucy, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts and feelings on Guardians so far?
Yeah, I mean, this is a kind of game that I will play probably only once, because it is very much a light of tone, as you said, single player linear adventure, but it's a really good one. It's like it's written really well. The performances are really good. The characters as a team are really well illustrated. I mean, this is a team that I want to spend time with, and as I've been playing, they've slowly kind of, which is unfair to the MCU characters, but they've slowly kind of becoming the canon Guardians for me. I mean, I say it's unfair because obviously they're loosely based on the movie versions, but I think it's great. The combat isn't anything to write home about. It's very sort of simplistic. It's very kind of, as a whole, it's quite a simple game. But it's a game that is just, it's such a, like, I hate using this word, but I'm going to. It's just like such like a rollicking old school adventure. And it's made me laugh out loud a couple of times. Like, honestly, it's made me laugh out loud. Like, when was the last time a game has made you laugh out loud intentionally? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, if you screw up or do something stupid, that's funny, or someone else does something stupid. But this is a game that is making me laugh through its writing, which is really hard to do. And I think it's marvelous. I'm so surprised that it was so kind of muted in terms of the lead up to this game. I mean, I know that there was some sort of messaging around it. We saw some footage and that sort of thing, but it feels like it sort of came out of nowhere and then it was just in the wild. And I'm surprised it's as good as it is for that reason. I was like, oh God, before it arrived, I was like, it's probably going to be terrible. And that's why we haven't heard much about it. Like the fanfare has been so muted, it must be like awful, but it's not. It's really, really good. So yeah, that's kind of my broad takeaway. I'm having a blast with it, and I hope more people realize that it's good and play it.
Yeah. It's absolutely something that I think that truncated schedule of pre-release I like, but it did definitely make me worried, and I wonder how much of it was a reaction to, the fallout of Avengers and that game's post-launch life and the troubles that it's ensued, because this is very much a completely different structure of a game. And there's definitely a lot in common in terms of, third-person action behind the back, controlling the powers of a superhero team that you know of, but it's very differently directed, and the focus of it is much different, and yeah, I'm glad about that.
It reminds me so much of Uncharted. Like it's giving me those old school Uncharted vibes where it's like, let's go through this like very linear, the fights are kind of like set, right? It's like you're doing puzzles and fun conversations are happening, and then it's like you fall into this like arena and you're like, oh, this is where a fight's going to be, and then you are graded on that specific fight, and I wasn't exactly sure how the fights would go, but like the fact that you're getting this like grading on the fight kind of, it took away any illusions that this was anything but just a linear, get through it. Every fight is exactly how the developer kind of wants it to be as far as like where they happen. They're not just peppering enemies at you. Right. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that it works for this, just like it does for an Uncharted game. You can't have you can't have great dialogue moments and funny things happening if there's this constant weird peppering of enemies. So I love that you have all this time for them to shine. And just to echo what Lucy said, I feel the exact same way. I was very surprised at this game. I'm surprised I like it as much as I do, because I remember watching the reveal and it was like this roller coaster. I was like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. And then they showed some combat, and I'm like, oh no, this looks like Avengers. That's not great. And then it's like they had some dialogue choices, and I'm like, okay, never mind. This actually looks like it could be cool. And then they ended it with showing all the costumes you can get, and I was just like, oh, no, do I have to like change my cell phone plan so Star-Lord can have a pink outfit? Like, no. But it was one of those great things where people in the office had it, and I hadn't played it yet, and it was just one of those. It's so funny with a game like this. It's like everybody's waiting to be the first person to be on Slack and be like, yo, this game's actually pretty good. And it was Jesse Gomez from our UK team. He had it before anybody. And he's like, guys, it's all right. It's actually really good. And I was like, okay. And it's also gorgeous. It's a really gorgeous game.
Yeah, it's very pretty, and they've leaned into the space. We're making up a bunch of alien places, and all of it's made up. So let's just get beautiful with it, and let's get colorful, and let's get vibrant. And there's nothing really, obviously you get the space age metal of things, but other than that, as you're seeing maybe from the gameplay, if you're watching the video version or just if you've seen a trailer, there's a lot of very pretty, colorful, crazy stuff in here, and it's a lot of fun to just experience as much as actually play. It's really cool in that way. Jada, I know you're pretty far into it, correct?
Yeah, I just hit chapter 14 this morning, so I'm in the tail end of the story. Lots of really good stuff. I feel like everybody's going to enjoy it as you get even more once you get further into it and you start getting these different abilities for Star-Lord and the rest of your team. There's some really cool just moments where you can like group everybody together with Rocket and then knock everybody up in the air with Groot. Meanwhile, Drax is like dropping on top of them and slashing them, and Gamora slashing them all at the same time. Just really cool combos you can do. The soundtrack is amazing. I really love the huddle up feature, which is kind of like an ultimate ability that you build up as you use your teamwork abilities. And basically everybody comes together. You have to pick the correct dialogue option to rally the team. Everybody gets healed. They get powered up. It gives you a massive boost to your cooldowns for abilities. You can start just spamming abilities because your allies don't do a whole lot of damage unless you're telling them to do abilities. Like they'll do stuff, but don't count on them to, get that last hit on the boss. They'll sit there and Drax will just be there punching the boss until you come over and shoot it with Star-Lord.
It reminds me so much, just real quick, of Final Fantasy 15. Like, I love that game. And that game thrives so much on Noctis, not just fighting, but telling, commanding your party, because it's Final Fantasy. It's supposed to be about, like, turn-based and, like, having all of your characters. And in that game, you only play as Noctis. But it's like, the power of the combat comes from, instructing your party members to all work together. And that's the vibes I get from this.
Yeah, and one of the other things you said, you kind of compared it to Uncharted. For me, it's kind of more of a Devil May Cry, just because that style gauge is, very inherent to Devil May Cry players. I think Devil May Cry has more enemy encounters than Guardians does, and it definitely doesn't focus on the story nearly as much as Guardians, besides the very specific beats. But Guardians does a really good job, and to Lucy's credit earlier, she's saying about like the humor, the writing is done so well, and it's just you expect Drax to be very literal and just over the top kind of deadpan humor, and they did a good job of nailing it. There's been a couple of moments that have fallen flat, and I was just like, okay, but there's been other ones I'm just like, yeah, this is great, and I've had a smile on my face the entire time I've played it, and it's just like one of those pure joy games. I don't think it's going to be like the game of the year contender as some of the other games that have released this year, but it's definitely one of those ones that just put a smile on my face for the last 12 hours or so.
Yeah,
and as chat is just to what you mentioned, Jada, as chat is mentioning, yes, I am quite old. I was a child of the 80s.
Oh, the music's amazing.
And the music in this game, as a child of the 80s who grew up, I was a kid in the 90s. The music in this game speaks to my soul.
Why is chat so obsessed with Lucy's?
That was
going on today?
Not the angle.
The 60-year-old in the black t-shirt, baby.
But no, I mean, to the point of the music, it's and Jada, you were mentioning it as well. There's a cool thing that's done here. Obviously, with the licensed tracks, there's dozens in the game, and as you mentioned, the huddle up. When you activate that, it'll randomly pull in a song, and so sometimes you get really weird classic 80s tunes popping in, and then sometimes you get like Aha's Take on Me, and it kind of really jives with the moment. But also there's the fictional band, because this is not a spoiler, it's been in the trailers, it's been in a lot of interviews, but I guess if you've got a media blackout, turn away for 30 seconds. Star-Lord, he gets his name from the fictional band Star-Lord, which is that name. I have this like trucker hat, Star-Lord, and that's the band name, and they recorded like a full album for the game. The fictional band Star-Lord, that I believe is made up of some of the devs, is a actual like album of music you can listen to in the game. And I think, Jada, you were saying we were doing a Twitter Spaces about this game yesterday, and like you just sat there listening to the album.
Yeah, probably my first hour of my playthrough, I literally just sat on Star-Lord's bed with the cassette player on and just went through the entire track list. If you look, you can grab the the booklet for the cassette players that they used to come with, and has all the lyrics for all the songs and everything listed. My favorite from there is Solar Ashes, not to be confused with the Annapurna game coming out, but definitely equal levels of hype. But yeah, the tracks are amazing. They're done really well. Major kudos to the IRL band that did it. I know a couple of the tracks are up on Spotify, so you can check out 2 of them right now. But yeah, I literally sometimes I just have Star-Lord when I'm on the ship, just staring out the window and just have the soundtrack playing in the background while I'm doing other stuff in the house. And it's just great.
It's great. And to your other point, Lucy, of like the way these characters are written, and it is laugh out loud funny, like pretty consistently. There's no comedy these days, I would say, ever hits 100% of the jokes they throw out, but a lot of stuff really hits here. And I think a thing that obviously this game has that the movies don't is time, and it lets you spend time with all 5 of these Guardians if you want to. There's like a ton of optional dialogue you can just skip over if you want, but I recommend going through it, because you get really, really great encounters with Drax and Groot and Rocket and Gamora, and it's stuff that, a movie would have 30 seconds to attend to, but this lets you do a full scene with them, and then that informs a dialogue choice you might make later, and that dialogue won't fundamentally change the way the game ends, but it lets you kind of get to know the Guardians in a different way.
My biggest takeaway from this is like, Avengers was a game that is not incredibly well received, and it's like that game had, crazy budget and the voice, some of the best voice talent in the entire industry. But at the end of the day, it was like this kind of shoehorned multiplayer microtransaction kind of game. And it's like, it kind of shows that it's like the Guardians, this game has no right to be so much better than Avengers, and yet it is. And it kind of just proves that single player games that are written well and play well, like that's what we want. We want more of those. We don't want our Avengers game to be Destiny.
Mark, do you remember when they announced the voice cast for Avengers, and it was like this big like
they had their whole video.
They eventized it kind of thing. Oh, looking back, I completely forgotten about that. And you're so right, because the voice talent in this game is so good. And I actually Googled the cast, and a few of these people I'd never heard of, and I'm so impressed with what they've done in this game. I also just want to say, as we're wrapping up our thoughts on Guardians, best depiction, most honest depiction of a teenager in any game ever. I was so surprised that was like when the camera, I don't want to spoil, okay, I won't spoil it, but I just want to say most honest depiction of a teenager ever in a video game.
It's really, it's really good. And it also doesn't like, it's not a cynical depiction anyway. It's just like, it shows both the kind of like a teenager who's a little bit trying to be cool at their age, but also does have a decent relationship with their parent. But yeah, like all these things, it's really good. I'm totally there with you.
I'm not very far, but I think I've seen 2 of these like flashback scenes with the mom, and like those have been some of my favorite parts of the game so far.
Yeah,
me too.
It's
just
all
wait
really
till you get further.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There's a lot more to experience. So I hope anyone who hasn't picked up Guardians
covering my ears with my headphones on.
So I hope here's how the game ends. No, I hope anyone out there who hasn't picked up Guardians definitely gives it a try. It's a lot of fun and a really nice surprise as we get toward the end of the year. We've got some more to talk about here on our Beyond Post show, but we'll be right back after this.
The Crysis series is known for its beautiful graphics and impressive campaigns, and now Crytek is remastering all 3 main single-player stories in the franchise as part of the Crysis Remastered trilogy.
This remaster is available right now and brings all 3 Crysis games to modern consoles with new and improved lighting as well as overhauled graphics and textures that take advantage of the hardware. Each game will run up to 4K resolution and 60 frames per second, so the games look better than they ever have before, and they run more stable too.
In celebration of the release of the Crysis Remastered trilogy, we're looking at the review scores from each mainline entry from our team here at IGN, presented by Crytek.
Back in 2007, our IGN reviewer gave the original Crysis a 9.4 out of 10, saying that Crysis features fast, well-designed gameplay with enough options to allow players to use their own style of attack with satisfying suitabilities and weapons.
In 2011, IGN gave Crysis 2 a 9 out of 10, with our reviewers saying, Crysis 2 is a beautiful, engrossing experience that avoids the anemic, scripted playbook made law by the 500-pound shooter gorilla. It plays well, encourages creative problem-solving, and confidently delivers a series of escalating and changing encounters and scenarios that will push you to think in a way few shooters have in an era of increasingly funneled experiences.
In 2013, IGN gave Crysis 3 an 8.5 out of 10, with our reviewers saying the biggest surprise that hits when you sit down and play Crysis 3 is the noticeable leap in quality displayed by its story and characters. It's clear that this is an area that Crytek has largely directed its focus.
And there you have it, 3 games and 3 solid reviews for a franchise, and honestly, it is baffling that 3 games all released nearly a decade ago have managed to look even better with age.
Experience the saga yourself right now. The Crysis Remastered trilogy is available now for $49.99 on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X, Series S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC.
And we're back with more Podcast Beyond. Before we wrap up today, I did want to talk about another announcement that sort of fell in between episodes, but definitely want to touch on the show because we had addressed some pre-announcement hopes. Of course, the GTA trilogy was announced about a week back, officially bringing GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas to modern consoles with a bit of a facelift. I think some adjustments to the gameplay. We got a little bit of details about it. That trilogy is coming November 11th. We had seen tons of leaks before it, so it was all but confirmed at this point to be coming, and now we finally are going to see it. We were talking a little bit before the segment. My first GTA was GTA 4 because I was not allowed to play GTA whatsoever in my wonderful Catholic household until I could convince my dad. GTA 4, it was in New York. It was, I wanted to see the big city in a game. It was cool. But I never played this trilogy of games. Mark, you've been going back to GTA 3, you were saying before?
GTA 3 also in New York, Liberty City.
Is it? Okay. I wish I had.
Yes. So, I'm so excited for this trilogy, man. I think this is how Mass Effect fans felt getting their definitive edition. Is like I grew up with these games, especially GTA 3 and Vice City. Man, I love these games so much. And so yeah, what's funny about them is now that they're announced and we officially have this trailer and a release date, which is 2 weeks away, they went through and did that whole thing where they removed all old versions of the game off of Steam and stuff like that. Companies love doing that, but they're still on mobile, and I have an iPad, so I synced up. I did the Bluetooth with the DualSense and downloaded GTA 3. It's $5. You can get the whole trilogy for $15, and not that it's a trilogy, it's not, but
that dedication.
It weirdly plays way better than I remember, because this is these are the PS2 controls on the mobile version. And it weirdly plays better than I remember, and it made me so incredibly excited for this, because the whole deal, other than the graphics, is that they're looking to make them all play more like GTA 5, because GTA 3 does not play probably like anybody remembers. The shoot button is circle, and the drive button is X, and it's a very PS2 era controls, man. I am very excited for this, though.
Yeah, we got this comparison trailer if you're watching the video version, showing some of the updates that they've done. And you can definitely, I think, as someone who didn't play these games, I think the detail that's done when you see the environmental shots is really remarkable. There's, obviously only so much you can do without completely from the ground up rebuilding some of these character models. And so you obviously have to take it for what it was at the time and the evolutions we've seen with facial animation and all that. But like they've done a lot to the lighting and to the building structures and just, even things like furniture. There's like a kitchen sequence where the tiles are now beautifully designed. It's like they've got actual design and life and color to them. And it really lends a lot to these environments that I'm excited to explore them for the first time. Lucy, I know you were saying GTA 4 was like your big GTA as well.
It was, yeah. I rented San Andreas a couple of times back in the day, but GTA 4 was definitely my intro. So this is going to be my re-intro to the earlier games, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, me as well. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, what I love about trilogies like these is you get to play a game, like for someone like me who has pretty vivid memories of GTA 3 before I downloaded it on a mobile, you get to play the games how you remember them, right? Like you remember, I remember what Uncharted looks like, and then you boot it up on your PS3 and you're like, whoa, this does not look like how I remember. But then you play the remaster and you're like, this is what I remember. That's kind of how I'm expecting people to like, it doesn't look updated, but it's like, we'll boot it up on a PS2 on a CRT and tell me it doesn't look updated.
But that's the thing. It's like the best remasters are like playing your memories of the game. And Resident Evil Capcom has done so well with Resident Evil, and I mean, I have no real memories attached to this, but of course I played a ton of GTA 4 and GTA 5. So the fact that these are going to play more like those games is very, very, very thrilling.
Yes.
I think the shot that really did it for me in the trailer was the train scene. When you see the train kind of making that bend, I was like, okay, there's actually some really good texture updates that they're doing with the models and everything here. 3 was probably where I put most of my time in. You had to, like Mark was saying, to the controls. We had to keep the shoulder buttons free for those cheat codes. Remember back in the day, summoning them tanks. That was a very important thing to be able to do. Summon a tank in the middle of a busy New York street. But yeah, that one in San Andreas.
Like R2, R2, L1, R2 circles. Like those are codes that have stuck with me forever.
Yeah, those are built in. It's they were almost as memorable as the Konami code. So and they made it that way purposefully.
I hope they still work.
I was gonna say I hope they're able to still work here. But yeah, Jada, I'm with you. That shot is really the one from the comparison trailer that did it for me. Of like, oh, they've put in some work. It is not just like we're putting these up on modern consoles. They definitely gave this a facelift. That even if I don't have memories of them, I feel like it's gonna just sort of hit that. Oh yeah, this is what I remember PS2 era games looking like, even if it looks much better than that. So it's really cool to see the work there. I'm glad we're getting it this November, especially because, and again, as I've said some past weeks, I can't believe in the year 2021 I'm saying GTA 5 was delayed, but GTA 5 was delayed for the PS5 version to next year. So this should be a nice open world package to hold us over. But that, unfortunately, is going to wrap us up for this week's episode of Podcast Beyond. Mark, Jada, and Lucy, thank you so much for joining me for this State of Play live reaction episode. Even if, there wasn't as much to talk about from the State of Play, still had a wonderful time speaking with all of you. You can find us all on Twitter. I'm at JM Dornbush. Mark is at Mark_Medina. Jada is at Jada_Rena. And Lucy is at Luce O'Brien. You can find us all there. And of course, all of our wonderful work on IGN. So thank you all so much for joining me to be on this episode. Thank you to everyone out there who was listening and watching. And thank you to everyone who helped make the show happen. We hope you're safe and we hope you're well. And as always, beyond.
Beyond.
Beyond.